will never die. When we started to play, didn't know what to do. Just a feeling, maybe we found what we were looking for. Just a feeling, it's the way it was meant to be. 'Cause here and now, yeah, that's where we wanna be. We feel alive, still there like a family. We didn't think it, we didn't hide it, singing along through the years. 'Cause here and now, that's who we are. There were so many times we were so close to giving up. It's a kind of a miracle. Yeah, so many times we felt far away from the place where we belong. Just a feeling, maybe we found what we were looking for. Just a feeling, it's the way it was meant to be. 'Cause here and now, yeah, that's where we wanna be. We feel alive, still there like a family. We didn't think it, we didn't hide it, singing along through the years. 'Cause here and now, that's who we are. We never fade away. We hope we never change. We never go away. We will stay. We will stay. Yeah, yeah, that's who we wanna be. We feel alive, still there like a family. We didn't think it, we didn't hide it, singing along through the years. 'Cause here and now, that's who we are. We were just some kids looking up to the sky with the sound of the radio, saying yes will never die. When we started to play, didn't know what to do. Just a feeling, maybe we found what we were looking for. Just a feeling, it's the way it was meant to be. 'Cause here and now, yeah, that's where we wanna be. We feel alive, still there like a family. We didn't think it, we didn't hide it, singing along through the years. 'Cause here and now, that's who we are. There were so many times we were so close to giving up. It's a kind of a miracle. Yeah, so many times we felt far away from the place where we belong. Just a feeling, maybe we found what we were looking for. Just a feeling, it's the way it was meant to be. 'Cause here and now, yeah, that's where we wanna be. We feel alive, still there like a family. We didn't think it, we didn't hide it, singing along through the years. 'Cause here and now,
Hello?
Yep, I'm here. Just getting everything ready.
Very excited.
Yeah. Briar, if you can hear me, request to speak. Then I can put you in. Okay, so... Okay, so just to make sure, are you guys able to? Let me see. Um, are you able to mute yourself at will? Okay, yeah. So what we'll do is I'll explain it once we actually get started and everything. But what we want to do is, as one person is talking, the other person, everyone else will be muted while one person is talking because we'll go in a row. Like I'll call on whoever's supposed to talk. You guys will talk, and then we'll move along that way. So it's not like. But also, I want to leave space for spontaneity, just in case it gets, I don't know, a little back and forth. I don't want to stop that by following a strict rule. But in general, if someone's talking, we want to let them talk. That's all. All right. So, Briar, if you, I don't know if you're comfortable just listening in for today. If you want to talk, hit the little wave thing, so I can allow you to speak. And we got 6 minutes, and we're okay. So, now I'm going to allow the people who are listening on YouTube to hear what we're saying. So I'm gonna be quiet until we have to start, just so you know. People can hear you if you talk. All right.
Before it starts, you should probably check to make sure all of our mics are working properly.
All right. Mic check, everyone.
Should we go in order?
Yeah, sure. Let's start from on my screen. Dio's to the far left. Let's start from you.
Okay. Is my mic working properly?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay.
Briar, you want to say something, brother?
Can you hear me?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Kia?
Probably fine, right?
Okay, yeah. And Pocket, are you gonna talk or?
No, he just left, I think.
Yeah, he's in the audience. He has administrative ability, so he can just come and go as he pleases. He's good. All right, you know what? Let's get this started. All right, so if everybody could mute for a second, then after I do the intro, we'll get started. All right. All right, people, it's 3 o'clock and it's time to get started on the inaugural Rebirth Roundtable discussion, where today we're going to be talking about the Tome of Wisdom. And today I have a very, very talented panelist, some of which were here last time, some of which are new, but I'll give everybody an opportunity to introduce themselves properly. So first I'm going to start from the man who owns Zawarudo, although that's a different show, so it doesn't really apply. Mr. Dio. How's it been? How you doing, brother?
Hello, you filthy meat creatures.
Everything okay?
I am fantastic.
All right, that is awesome. That is awesome. Next we have Briar, and I just want to formally apologize. I don't know why I assumed that you were male, but thank you for coming. How are you doing?
Okay, and it's no problem.
Okay.
Nice to be here.
All right, and Keo. This is the first time you're coming here. I'm glad to have you. Thank you very much for coming. Kia, everything good?
Forgot to unmute there.
Okay.
Well, yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Hello.
All right. Well, I want to say a formal hello to everybody who's in the chat. Ken Kaneki's in there. He's a regular. Lapar Sonia, Eunice Bayar, everyone in there, hi, hello. It's very nice to have you. I'm not going to waste your time. We're not going to waste your time. We're going to be very, very quick with this. And so, just a bit of housekeeping details. I'm going to pose a question to the panel. I'll call in your name, and I'll give you the floor so you basically state your claim and explain your thoughts. And I'm going to go down that way. So we're going to start from Dio, and then we're going to run the way down. And anybody who pops in, some people might pop in as we continue the show, and that's all fine. I'll just make sure I give them a chance to talk. And so I'm going to assume that everything's okay, and let's get started. So the topic of discussion for today is the Tome of Wisdom. I, for one, have had quite a bit of a hard time understanding, because I don't particularly think it's been explained very well. And so I'm going to go to you, Dio, because I'm sure you have a lot to say. If I were to simply ask you just a straight up question without going too elaborate into the explanation, how would you define the Tome of Wisdom?
I would define it as a book that contains all the knowledge of the world and detailing the true future up to interpretation.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I think that's the basic gist of it.
Okay. All right. Fair. Let me move on to. Give me 1 second. Briar, how would you define the Tome of Wisdom in your personal perspective?
From what I understand, it's a book made by Echidna that is powered by the world's memory, something like that.
Okay.
Like, basically, the original book is basically unreadable, and Echidna makes her own, like, watered down version that can be understood by humans.
Okay. We'll expand on that in a second. Kia, what do you think?
So basically, just what they said, where yeah, it's memory of the world, and it will be telling a scene from like the world's memory, and then
Okay.
of course there's the personal ones from the other two, and that tells their future.
Okay, so and I'm going to come at this from the perspective that I'm not really a savant when it comes to the Tome of Wisdom, and so for example, when you say detailing the world's memories, you're specifically talking about the world at large. It's not individualistic. It's focusing on the world on a large scale. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, okay, and when there's a particular as I was preparing for this, I actually saw a screenshot where when Echidna was initially presenting her the term one half of the two she gave one to Roswaal and she gave the other to was it Beatrice, and I'll let Briar answer this. She specifically said it is incomplete, but it's a replica of the Tome of Wisdom, the authority granted to me. And so that makes me wonder when she says the authority granted to me, what does that mean? I'm not quite sure what they mean by that. The authority granted to me, and it's a book that has the ability to tell the world's future. Sounds like a big deal. Like, what do you make of that?
I'm also not completely sure what she means when she says the authority granted to me. I assume it means that she is able to understand what the world is trying to tell her the future is, whereas normal humans just would not be able to comprehend it. I think it even would make them go crazy if they were to read it.
Okay.
And then the books that she gives to Beatrice and Roswaal is her own interpretation of their futures. Like she basically took in the information and then restated it in the book in a way that they can understand and read.
Okay. Okay. Does anyone
I can
want to
back
comment
Briar
on
on
that? Okay, go ahead.
I can back Briar on that. I completely agree.
Okay. Kia, what do you think?
Also correct, and yeah.
Okay.
So, of course, there's the Gospels, but I don't think we're going to talk about that.
Oh,
quite yet, right?
yeah, we will in this conversation we will talk about it. We're just starting from the top. So the people in the chat say Ali says the book created by Echidna detailing a certain future that needs certain events to be seen as true. What do you make of that? I'll just open that to the floor. Who wants to tackle that? Briar, you can take it if you want.
I mean, I was just thinking that, like, I'm not really sure how to
Okay.
interpret that.
Okay. Alex Haima says, I believe it tells the past, present, and future. Is that true? Like past, present, and future? Or is it only future?
The Tome of Wisdom tells the past, present, and future.
Okay. That's very, very interesting. In what sense does it tell the past?
Like it would detail like kind of like how they say true future, it would detail like the world's entire memory of the past.
Okay.
But there's like so much that like it would drive any person insane. So that's why Echidna had to make a watered down versions of it to give to Beatrice and Roswaal, because if they had read all of that, it would drive them nuts.
Okay. Interesting. It's some powerful stuff. I'm actually beginning to wonder how Echidna is able to do such a thing. And Prushkevich, I'm sorry if I didn't say that right. Prushkevich says she used the authority of greed to create the tome. And so, again, yes. So the source of the Tome of Wisdom is Echidna.
I do not know.
Okay, so because like when she says
that's from the authority, right?
Right, because yeah, when she says the Tome of Wisdom is the authority granted to me, and Echidna is the one who created the tome, that would mean that Echidna, like the source of whatever powers used to fuel it, comes from Echidna herself. Would that not be the case?
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense, but I don't want to like confirm anything that I don't know for like a fact. Cause,
okay.
I don't want to confuse them.
Okay.
I think specifically, like, Echidna isn't coming up with this information herself. I think it comes from, what's it called? Adlagna? Is what they, it's basically the terms of the world. Yeah.
Okay. Polkit says, he's in the chat, he says, I think Echidna implies that her power, which she gets from her authority, is Tome of Wisdom. For example, Juice gets Unseen Hands as the power from Sloth Authority. Similarly, Echidna gets that Tome of Wisdom as her power. That's interesting, but for me, anyway, when I read that, I have to wonder. Like, if you take Betelgeuse, for example, Betelgeuse is the Archbishop of Sloth. And for the Archbishop of Sloth, you get an authority, and the authority is basically like an ability. And the ability he gets is the Unseen Hands. He gets it. He doesn't create it. And so when you say that Echidna's the equivalent of the Unseen Hands for Betelgeuse for Echidna is the Tome of Wisdom, I'm like, but she's the one who actually created this, as opposed to Betelgeuse, who just gets it. If that makes any sense.
Could I say something?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay, I don't think she created the Tome of Wisdom. I think she's able to create watered-down versions of it with her knowledge of it.
So when you say watered down versions, are you talking about the two she gave to Roswaal and Echidna and Beatrice, or the big, because they when they talk about it initially, they talk about the Gospels are the fake versions of the ones Roswaal and Beatrice have, and then those are incomplete versions of like the big single apex book. Is that not the case?
The Gospels are defective copies, and I don't know if Echidna was the one who wrote those, but I do know that I think that Echidna's authority allows her to understand the Tome of Wisdom,
Okay.
and she can use that knowledge to then make the watered down versions herself.
Okay. So the creation, she's not the one who created it.
That was my interpretation of it, but that's an interpretation.
Okay.
Can I speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so for the gospel, you either have to you say Echidna made those, right? You have to either imply that she's like in charge of the witch cult,
Okay.
or that she has, or that yeah. You have to imply that if you assume that the gospel is being made by Echidna.
Okay.
Whereas there's other ways that it could also be explained, but cannot go further on that.
Okay. So this is grounds for me to do more research to greater understand what happens here. But let me go to the next question, and I think I'll have Briar. You can probably answer this one for me, please. The Tome of Wisdom has a lot of character implications on the different characters. So first, we're going to start from Beatrice. What was your opinion on the effect that the Tome of Wisdom's existence had on Beatrice as a character? Did you like it? Did you hate it? And what did you gain from that, in your personal opinion?
Oh, I absolutely hated it. I thought it made her entire emotional stability worse. Like, if she hadn't been given the Tome of Wisdom, and maybe just with Echidna's like vague words, she might have actually caught on that she was just supposed to choose someone a little bit easier. But with basically having like a part of her future mapped out to her, and then just have it stop and have her just be confused, I think that made everything worse.
Okay. And this is more so a perspective on the type of watcher that you are. When Nagatsuki, for example, puts Beatrice through this particular event, do you personally view that as a good or bad thing?
I mean, it's good for the development of the story, of course. I just can't help but sympathize with her as a character and just wish she didn't have to go through it.
Okay. Let me see. Dio, what do you think about that? Beatrice's relationship with the Tome of Wisdom.
So, I think it's very bad for her, but I love it. Don't hate me, please. I love Beatrice, and I want her to be happy. But if it wasn't for the Tome of Wisdom, Beatrice may have chosen someone before Subaru and never gotten the chance to choose Subaru, and then if all the events unfolded with Beatrice having chosen someone else and now being somewhere else, maybe he wouldn't have been able to overcome the Sanctuary without her.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Keo, what about you? What's your opinion on Beatrice and the Tome of Wisdom?
In the story, how it came from that, but yeah, I like it in total.
Okay. For me personally, it's sort of a mixed bag for me personally, because on one end I do enjoy the fact that like and people said I shouldn't say Nagatsuki because the U in the Japanese words is like silent, like Nagatsuki is how I should say. So I'm in the process of trying to weed that out of my vocabulary. But when Nagatsuki's tackling the character of Beatrice, on one end I do like the fact that he was able to take Beatrice on a journey, on a character breakdown journey, and at the end of the day, it came out all well in the end. However, and I'll let you guys, I want to get your opinion on this. I I was a little disappointed that we never really got the you know how Roswaal set up that Subaru, when you see Beatrice, says like ask her to ask the question and then answer affirmatively that I am that person. I was a very big fan of that subplot, but this subplot got kind of dropped once the Tome of Wisdom came into the forefront. Does anybody share my opinion that it was a little bit more compelling when Roswaal had there's a specific question and there's an answer? What do you guys think?
So
Can
try
I
it.
go?
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go with Briar. Go ahead, and then I'll go to Dio and then Keo.
I was disappointed at first, but I think you're supposed to get the impression that, like when Subaru was trying to ask Beatrice, like, what can he do for her?
Yeah.
And she's basically telling him, you can be my number one and all this stuff. Like, that is what that person is supposed to be. Like, to her, the ideal is to be the number one, always put her first in everything. And if you can't do that, the only other option is that she wants to kill herself. So basically, if Subaru were to walk up to Beatrice and say, I am that person, she would be like, okay, so you're the person who's going to treasure me for the rest of your existence and put me first. And Subaru had said that it would be a lie because first in Subaru's heart is always going to be Amelia.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's
Dio,
all the young fans.
Dio, what do you think?
Okay. Could you repeat the question?
So, in the case of initially, Nagatsuki set up the whole plot line of ask Beatrice the question and then answer affirmatively, I am that person. But they dropped it for the whole Tome of Wisdom subplot, and it just kind of didn't go anywhere after the Tome of Wisdom came into it. So, what do you think? Like, what do you think about that transition? Did you? Because I preferred the former because it was more compelling.
Okay. I actually really like how they did it. I love that Subaru never said I am that person, because again, it would be a lie. Because Beatrice isn't the number one loser.
All right.
But so I personally really like it, but at the same time, I'm a little biased because I am a ReZero sim, so I am a little biased.
In what way specifically?
In my mind, ReZero can't do any wrong.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay. Let's see, Kia, what do you think about this? Did you prefer this storyline or did you prefer the other one?
Have anything to add since whatever they said I was gonna say. But,
Okay.
yeah, I don't have anything additional to add because Briar basically made all my points already.
Okay. Then let me give you this new question. When Beatrice is asking Subaru, put me first, be selfish on my behalf, put me as your number one, devote yourself 100% to me. What do you think about that character? I don't want to call it character flaw, but character trait, asking someone to give everything, basically. What do you think about that?
So the way I interpreted it, I basically think she's getting someone to fill in, or like the hole that Ekidana left when she had basically like left her like alone, and
Right.
she wants someone else to like. It's very childish in that way, which I guess is rightfully so. She just wants someone to like be a parent or older figure for her. But that's what my interpretation was.
Okay. Briar, what do you think?
I think she just wanted somebody that she could guarantee would always stand by her side, who wouldn't abandon her for the slightest other thing that might come along.
100% is a lot.
It is definitely. I don't think it's healthy or anything. I just think that's what her mindset was. She just wants somebody that she can be sure won't leave her again.
Okay, my goodness. When I initially saw that, I was like, dang, 100? I don't know if I can do, like, I don't even think Emilia gets 100. I mean, Emilia gets the most, but I don't think Emilia gets 100 because he's so occupied saving everyone. And so for her to ask to give him 100, I don't know about that. And I think Subaru did, he was honest with her in that he didn't say he would give her 100%. He just said that, for the time that we have, I will, impact you so much that you will never forget me. So he did make the right choice inevitably. But from Beatrice's perspective, it's like asking 100% is a big deal. Dio, what do you got on this?
I think she has really heavy abandonment issues.
That's
and
probably
as
true.
someone that has abandonment issues, I kind of relate. I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
It is a little bit unfortunate, but like it is a flaw. Like for me, it is a flaw. But like, I think that if someone doesn't promise to give her 100%, she'll probably feel like they'll eventually abandon her. Like if she doesn't feel like she's number one in his heart, then he will abandon her. That's probably what she feels like. And she is terrified of that because of Ekidona. And yes.
Okay. That's fair. So let's go to probably the character who's most like his character archetype is foundationally built on the Tome of Wisdom. Let's talk about Roswaal, but not Roswaal as a character, even though they're probably going to overlap. Specifically, Roswaal and his connection to the Tome of Wisdom. So let's start in a general sense. What are like? And I think let me start from let's start from Dio and then go all the way right. So Dio, what do you think in a general sense? Roswaal's relationship with the Tome of Wisdom, from a reader's or a watcher's perspective, do you think that it's a compelling narrative?
I think it is a very compelling narrative. I think it is.
Okay.
But at the same time, I think it can be disappointing.
Okay. In what way?
It can disappoint you when you find out that with Roswaal without the Tome of Wisdom is basically a child.
Gotcha. Okay, that's a good point.
And I think I love that part of Roswaal, and that made me like him even more. It made everyone else hate him, but it made me like him even more.
Okay.
But,
Sorry, carry on.
I think that the Tome of Wisdom to Roswaal is everything. I think that it's like when it comes to things, it's like Ekidona's number one, Ram's number two, and then there's no number three. It's just the Tome of Wisdom. Like that's just like his next most precious thing.
Ram was number two? I would think the Tome would be number two.
Yeah, I would say that. Well, I would say that Ram is number two to him.
Really?
Because,
okay.
Well, yeah, because without the Tome, he immediately fell back onto Ram. It was like, oh, maybe Ram can help,
Fair. That's
fair. Yeah.
Okay.
You can move on.
Sure. Brian, what do you think about Roswaal, on the general sense, Roswaal's relationship with the Tome of Wisdom? Are you on board with that?
I actually think he is not as compelling as a character as long as he has the Tome of Wisdom. I'm really looking forward to seeing how he acts without it. Because when he has it, he basically acts like a stereotypical bad guy the entire time, or he's depressed. Like, if it's following the Tome of Wisdom, then he's excited. He's like, okay, we're on the right path. I might get to be the final Roswaal who gets to see the end. If it's not following it, then he's just like, oh, this timeline is useless, whatever, who cares?
That is a unique perspective, and I think that's in contrast to Dia's perspective. I have a follow-up question to that, but I want to give Kia, what do you think about Roswaal and the Tome of Wisdom?
I'm pretty neutral on it as a whole.
Okay.
Okay, it drives the plot forward.
Okay.
But it's not an awful device. It's not a great device. It's okay.
Okay. All right. Is there so from in your perspective, was it worth the trouble at the end of the day to the story arcs lead in to this point at the end of season 2 as far as Roswaal and the Tome of Wisdom is concerned? Was it worth it at the end for you?
I mean, yeah, it was there. It was definitely there.
Okay.
It wasn't the most compelling plot point.
Okay. Do you mind if I ask you what was lacking of it in your opinion?
Just, I mean, it felt like it could have been done a different way. So
Okay.
that, oh, it's a Tome book that tells the future given by his teacher. Okay, cool, I'll follow it to the end of the world.
Without questioning it, you know. Because actually, was there ever a point in time where he questioned the Tome of Wisdom? I don't believe so. He just took it as literal truth and followed it all the way to the end. So
Yeah, he followed that all the way through.
okay, so that's actually, I guess you could call that a character flaw. He never once questioned the book. But Briar, you said something about Roswaal's, because Roswaal's character was so firmly established on the Tome of Wisdom, it might have made him less compelling because other than that he would be, you know, depressed. What do you say to the argument that says the opposite is less compelling? Because Roswaal as the Tome of Wisdom version of Roswaal is an antagonist. At worst, maybe he's an anti-hero. At best, maybe he's an anti-hero. But once you remove that, doesn't he just become like one of the guys, which is less compelling? Or what do you think
I
about
completely
that?
disagree, but sorry.
Yeah, so Briar, you go, and then Dio, we'll see what you say.
I actually think he becomes way more dynamic as a character, potentially, of course.
Okay.
Because, like, he basically gives, like, a warning to Subaru saying, hey, even though I don't have this book anymore, I've still got my ultimate goal. And if it seems like you're not going to reach my goal, I am going to do everything it takes to, like, make you restart a loop or whatever. Like, I'm going to throw everything away to make you restart a loop and have things go as I think they should go, even without the Tome of Wisdom. So it's like he's actually way more erratic now that he probably won't have anything to follow. You know what I mean?
Okay. Dio, what do you think?
And I think that what he specifically said was that he would incinerate everyone to make him restart. But yeah, that's
Which
pretty
is worse.
menacing. Yeah, I think he's going to be even more of a problem now that he doesn't have the Tome of Wisdom. Because before he was calm and collected, just following. But now he's going to, like, before he was in the shadows, now I think he's going to come out to the forefront and, like, really try to push for his main goal instead of just simping for a kidnap.
Okay, and so, like, in other words, the Tome of Wisdom in a backwards fashion actually restricted how much damage he could have done, because now that it's not there, he's only bound by his imagination. He can go as crazy
Exactly.
as he wants. Okay, and I think
Exactly.
there we can see how demented a character he really is. So, you know what? That's a very good point. Before we continue, though, when it comes to the Tome of Wisdom, especially in the case of, well, in the case of many people, many characters in ReZero, but we'll go to Subaru next after this. But in the case of Roswaal and the whole simping for echidna. Now, who here is a fan of that? I'll start from Kia. Are you a fan of that?
Of the whole simp thing.
Yeah, for echidna. In the case of Roswaal.
In the same way that, like, Beatrice is, like, it's her motherhood figure.
Mm-hmm.
Echidna is just, like, for Roswaal, it's his, like, love of his life that he's lost
Yeah.
at the same time. And yeah, he's trying to get everything back, but yeah, it's, like you said in one of your reactions, it's been 400 years, dude. Just move on.
It has been. That's a long time. And, Brian, what do you think? Are you a fan of the Roswaal simp characteristic?
No, my opinion is basically the same. It's like, I get it for Beatrice, but for Roswell, it's like, come on, man.
Dio, what do you think?
Okay, so I really like Roswell,
Mm-hmm.
but when it comes to his simp nature, I can't really get behind him on that one.
Okay.
It's like it's just a bit much. I do like his character, but that is one aspect about his character that I think is a flaw. And I do like what it means for the story, though, because it means that it'll be very easy for Ekidona to manipulate him, and he is incredibly powerful. So Ekidona has someone incredibly powerful that she can still manipulate in the future.
Right. Okay. Let me give so Pulkit is in the chat. Let me so to add on to what Briar said, this is for the previous question, I believe. If Subaru had said that he is that person, Betty wouldn't have been able to choose anyone else after Subaru dies. By making Betty choose Subaru, he makes sure that even if Subaru dies, she'll be able to choose another person and not stay in one place like she did for 400 years. That's a good point. By making it, like, by Subaru establishing that I'm not going to be here forever, but still choose me, he's actually put her on the road to taking ownership of her own fate to choose who she wants to be, that's actually a very, very good point. The second thing he says here is, while we're on the topic of Roswaal and the Tome of Wisdom, did you notice that it was probably Roswaal who hired Elsa in season 1 to steal Emilia's insignia so Emilia and Subaru could probably meet? You know what? I will pose that question to you guys. Okay, go ahead, Dia. What do you think?
100%. That's what I've been thinking from the entire time, and that's why I see Ekidona and Roswaal as the main antagonists from season 1.
Okay.
Like with hindsight, like I see them as the real main antagonists, not like Elsa.
Okay, Briar, what do you say to that?
I actually assumed that I believe it's like Subaru's first conversation with Roswaal when he gets to the sanctuary, when Roswaal is like, "Oh, I had faith that you would do this." I was like, this creepy clown guy probably orchestrated everything, didn't he?
Right. And it's weird, they haven't actually gone back to confirm it. It's just been left, well, at least not in the anime, it's just been left open to assumption. Kia, what do you think?
I'm pretty sure he literally said he in the anime. So yeah, the main antagonist of season 1 being, not season 1, arc 1 being like Elsa, and then arc 2 being like Melee, really.
Mm.
It really means that Roswaal was the kind of being the chess master, and
right,
confirmed it. And so he's been behind it all, and the book was telling him the steps to do it at the time. It didn't go into detail on why, though. I think that's like one of the details. It tells you what to do, but not why to do it. Like make snow in the sanctuary. Why? To some of the rabbits, but it doesn't tell you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So
I don't think. Oh, sorry. I don't think the book told him why stealing the insignia would be a good idea at the start, outside of the story.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But it would eventually lead to the meeting of the two.
Okay. Let's then go to Mr. Subaru. Subaru specifically. Now, Subaru's relationship with the Tome of Wisdom is somewhat, I would say, odd in a sense where most of the times the character in the book seems to have a lot to do with him as a person, to where other people are trying to influence the scenarios to push him to do one thing or another. In general, when it came to the Tome of Wisdom in relation to Subaru, and actually, let me start with this first. The Tome of Wisdom, does it tell the true future? Does it tell a possible future? What do you guys think about that? Let me start from Kyo.
Can I go first?
Actually, let me let Kyo go first for this one, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
Okay, yeah. What do you think? Does the Tome of Wisdom tell the true future or a possible future? Which is it?
So it tells the truth. Yeah, but the Tome of Wisdom, no, I think I'm getting these confused. The Tome of Wisdoms that the Roswaal and Betty have tell them the steps to their future.
Okay.
Not their actual guaranteed future. I think Echidna's is the stronger of the two, where it'll actually tell the future based off the knowledge of the world.
Okay. Dio.
But that I'm not even sure about that.
Okay.
Okay, so I will make 3 points right here about the original Tome of Wisdom, about Betty and Roswaal's, and about the gospel.
Got you.
So the original Tome of Wisdom, past, present, future, and the true past and present and future. So then we have Betty and Roswaal's. I think that it leads them to their goals, to their desires, written by Ekidona. And I think that's probably, this is just my theory, but I think that that's probably the reason why Betty stopped saying anything, is because she gave up on her goals. And I think that that's why, that's what my basis is for the theory, that it really just leads you to your goals.
Okay.
And then with the Gospels, you know how, Pandora has the ability to just will things into existence?
Yes.
Well, and you know how Roswaal, not Roswaal, Regulus was addressing her as if she was a higher rank than him?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, I think that she uses her abilities, maybe, possibly, this is not based on fact.
Okay.
I think that she uses her abilities to give the witch cultists instructions through the gospel.
Interesting.
And I think she deceives them into thinking that oh yeah, it's my desires, but I think it's really her manipulating.
That's okay. That's a unique perspective. Briar, what do you think about this?
I was thinking about Beatrice and Roswaal's Gospels, and I think that they're only a potential future, and we know that they are a future being written down by Echidna, who's interpreting from like the Tome of Wisdom. So I'm wondering if it's possible that Echidna just picked out a potential future that she just liked for them and wrote that down for them. Like for Roswaal, obviously, she wants him to reach his goal since it involves her. And for Beatrice, she didn't care to finish it because she wanted to see what Beatrice would choose for her future.
Right. And that actually makes sense when you consider the trial, because the trial had to do with like the past and then behold an unthinkable present, and then the I've forgotten the tagline, but like the future things to come as well, where I think it was Minerva who stated that it's a possible future. And so this idea of the possible futures isn't like, it's not a new perspective. So it's actually possible that this is just a future possibility that could happen. But the apex term of wisdom at the top, that is like, it knows past, present, and future as it truly stands. Like, is that the understanding?
That's my understanding.
Okay. That book must be some OP type stuff. My goodness. Okay. And Echidna is able to read that partially?
I think
Yeah.
she understands it fully.
Fully? That's ridiculous. How OP is this lady? that's
But
actually
also
crazy.
keep in mind that I don't think she can understand it fully, because if she could, she would have known about Otto. But she didn't know about Otto, so she never wrote it down for Roswaal that Otto would be there. And because of Otto, Subaru was able to succeed.
Oh, that's a good point, yeah.
Okay. So this is me, because again, I haven't done the review on this. The Tome of Wisdom for me is one of those subplots that is kind of not bothering me, but like it's tough for me to grasp it, because this very, like, it's scattered. You have to go searching here and there and then piece it together, and I haven't quite done that yet. So if I'm understanding what you guys are saying correctly, and then just correct me if I'm wrong, there is the Tome of Wisdom. I'm going to call it the Tome of Wisdom, as in the original thing, which Echidna is able to read to some degree, and she takes the information from there to make two lesser books to give to Roswaal and Beatrice, and the focus of those two books are to allow them to achieve whatever goal they want. And in the case of Roswaal, she writes information specific to him, but in the case of Beatrice, she just leaves it out in the open. Is that the general idea here?
I mean, that's what I'm guessing, but it could. I really don't know, honestly.
Okay. maybe I should get Echidna to come here and talk for herself, because my goodness, this lady. Okay, that's fair. So when it comes to, let's go back to Subaru and the Tome of Wisdom. Do you guys believe in the long run that if the true Tome of Wisdom tells the past, present, and future, as in the true states of these things, as in these are set in stone, do you believe that do you believe that Subaru's existence has the possibility to change any of that, or is it an inevitability? Let me start from Briar, and then I'll go to Kyo, and then Dio.
I know it says it tells the true future, but I also just don't think that's set in stone. I think it probably is just a whole bunch of potential futures, and all of them have the possibility to be the true future.
Okay. Kia, what do you think? You're on mute, by the way. I don't know if you know. What do you think about do you think that Subaru's existence will create the possibility of the true Tome of Wisdom being wrong, or like telling a different future than it believes?
The true one, right?
Yeah, the true one. Yeah. Do you think that's an inevitability? There's no way to change that?
So I think that would be the case, because I think the true one would have him in account,
Okay.
but not the copies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. And Dio, what do you think about that?
Narratively speaking, I completely disagree with Briar.
In a nice way.
Damn.
In a nice
Okay,
way.
Calm down.
In a nice way.
Yes, in a very, very respectful way. I completely disagree. I feel like with the way the story is heading, that the true Tome of Wisdom is going to be another thing that Subaru has to overcome. That like he won't. That he has. I think he'll have to accept that he can't change the true future, and maybe he'll end up like getting information that like maybe from Makidona, maybe that maybe like this is a theory. This is not based on anything in the light novel. Okay, this is only based on the anime. So maybe he'll like be presented with information like, oh, maybe this person will die permanently, and that's what the true future holds. Like at the end of it, I think Subaru will have to accept that. I think he'll have to accept that he can't change it, and that'll be another thing. Like he has to accept that he can't change reality. I think that's something that he'll just honestly have to accept, and I think it'll be a good lesson for the viewers that there are things we can't change, and that we just have to accept and move on from.
Okay. Is in theory, for example, Roswaal's Tome of Wisdom is burned. Let's just assume that Beatrice's Tome of Wisdom didn't stop writing or having stuff written in it. If a random person picked it up and opened it, would they be able to read it, or is there something to stop them from doing so?
I would say that her Tome of Wisdom was in the Forbidden Library, and I'm pretty sure that entire dimension was destroyed.
No, so I mean completely like separate from the narrative timeline in general. When can a random person read a Tome of Wisdom, not the original, but like the two given to Roswaal and Co.
I have no idea at all.
Okay, Briar, Keo, what do you think?
I'm not sure. I know that a random person can't read a gospel.
Okay.
So I would assume that if somebody else picked up like Beatrice's or Roswaal's, that they couldn't read it. Okay.
And Keo, this is just right off the cuff. Like in the case of the, like Subaru now has the sloth witch factor, and like it's actually, what's the word? It's not rejecting him. He's what's the word to use? I'm tripping. Like because Betelgeuse, the sloth witch factor compatibility, right? He's compatible with the sloth witch factor. Is there anything like? Is it purely just a systematic perspective where an archbishop has a gospel, or is the fact that Subaru have the sloth witch factor mean he's eligible to get one for himself?
No. I think you're confused. So, being a member of the cult gets you a gospel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
So if you're a member of the cult, they give you. So it's separate from the power, structure or all those things. Okay. Interesting. Let's talk about Subaru then, because I just have a question here that's a little, out of the cuff or whatever. What was you guys' opinion on Subaru's character development, season 1 versus season 2? And let me start from Briar, because I know they're building off of each other, but just in isolated seasons, what did you think of the character development season 1 compared to that of season 2?
So wait, yeah. Before we go on to that point, let's go back to the where you're saying Subaru is not really like compatible with Sloth.
Okay, he's not.
Is he like? Yeah, he's like he tries like really hard. He's very diligent.
I assumed that was just because he's not skilled at like magic in general or something.
No, I think it's more so because he's not a very slothful person. That's why his power's so weak, I think.
Okay, so that's actually okay. I wonder if
like Betelgeuse summoned like 20 hands, but Subaru was only able to summon 1.
Yeah, but Betelgeuse was crying like eyes. His eyes were bleeding though. Wouldn't that be the indication of the lack of compatibility? Because he is like in my mind, the fact that Betelgeuse can summon 20 hands is indicative of his high magic affinity, and the fact that Subaru is not bleeding is indicative of his compatibility. That's what I assumed it was.
What I always was that he was biting his fingers to distract himself from the immense pain that it was causing him to use it. But yeah, I don't think I think that Betelgeuse was more compatible with Sloth than Subaru.
Okay.
But I think that Subaru is probably like I think he's going to be able to use the soft witch factor effectively, but I don't think that Okay. Well, if I go there, I'd have to get into like what the
Explain.
witchcrafters actually happen. Like what effects happen when someone is
Gotcha.
chosen by a witchcraft.
Okay.
I'm straying too far from the point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So okay, fair enough. Briar, do you have any thing to input on this?
I would also say that Subaru is far less compatible with it, and that Betelgeuse is probably barely compatible with it. Like, I don't remember what the actual number of hands you're supposed to be able to summon with
Puck
it is.
said
but-
you should be able to summon to beat me. You'd have to summon at least half as much as blah blah blah. I'm not going to say the name. And he said that which would be 1,000. That's like
Oh,
how
dang.
much he would need to actually beat him.
Okay.
Right. So the fact that Betelgeuse can only do like 20 and Subaru can only do 1, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I was pretty sure it was just like Subaru is just not good at magic. And on that note, in the final episode of season 2, when Beatrice shows up and she's using her, not the Al Shamak, the other one where it's just like the dark purple.
Elmina.
Elmina. Is Subaru actually using Elmina?
Yes.
Or I
yeah.
assumed that I actually, I mean, you guys will see the reaction soon enough, but I actually stopped to pause it to watch because Subaru hasn't had any particular magic training for him to then, because he was running while spamming Elmina around the rabbit. I was like, when did he get this good at, and she basically just gave him the instructions, materialize it, visualize it, and then say it, and he got it immediately. What did you guys, are you guys calling BS, or are you guys cool with it?
Can I go first?
Okay, sure, go ahead.
Wait,
Okay. So, for example, with Amelia and Puck's relationship, or actually, I'll just go with Beatrice and Subaru's. I just don't want to spoil them. So Beatrice is like a gate for Subaru. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure, not like an odd, but like a gate for Subaru to be able to cast magic because he has a broken. His gate is broken, so he can't cast magic anymore. But by using Beatrice, by holding hands with her, he's able to use all the stored up mana in his body and the mana in her body to cast magic. And all you have to do is visualize it. And he's a weeb, so like he's pretty good at visualizing things.
Okay. The I can see Kyo so Kyo believes that Subaru, Beatrice and Subaru formed a contract, and he was I mean, and Pulkit said it as well. Subaru was casting Elmina using Beatrice mana since he formed a contract with her.
Yes.
Okay. Initially for me, and I mean, it's cool if we go off the tangent. I don't mind, but for me initially when I watched that episode, I was like, from my understanding, especially after seeing how Echidna approached establishing a contract, she set it out plainly and very clearly. I want to form a contract with you. Here are the terms. You guys decide. You merge your souls, and so be it. When he was in the Choose Me episode, it looked like he was just genuinely trying to save her. It didn't appear to me that they were actually trying to form a contract because, like, no one even said anything about a contract. He was just trying to save her to get her out of there, and So I'm surprised that they're contracted to each other now. Does anyone agree with me here?
I assume that they made the contract when they were flying through the skies.
That's
And that they just
important.
skipped
That's an
over it.
important piece of detail.
Yeah, I think that they definitely should have made that one.
Okay. All right. Let me read. I want to read the comment section because I don't want them to think I can't see it. I can see it. So I'll just take a few minutes to just run through the comment section.
mild spoilers in there from what I was scrolling through. But mild.
Sorry.
There's some mild spoilers in the chat from what I saw.
Oh no.
Mild, but
Okay.
pretty mild.
Okay. All right. So let's see. The Authority of Greed. Okay, I already read that. Okay. It's difficult to say whether Echidna is the source. There is a bunch of info that could be considered as spoilers about it. Okay. Thank you for not spoiling. Thank you. In the trial, Emilia wasn't there when Regulus and Betelgeuse fought. That memory is supposedly filled in by the Tome of Wisdom. Emilia wouldn't have known what transpired there. That's actually a good point. So that right there is the Tome of Wisdom in action, right there. Like the parts she wasn't there to see is still being filled out through the power of the Tome of Wisdom. Interesting. Okay. Availing 976 says, in the case of Roswaal's term, it has steps in order for his goals to come to fruition, while Beatrice's might have been blank since she didn't really have any goal in mind, or at least
But
she
that person
gave
agrees
up.
with my theory.
Yeah. or at least she gave up at some point. Flood 55 says, I believe. I'm sorry, did I lose it? I believe Sanctuary Trials simulated worlds based on people's memories, and Al-Lagna, I do not know what that is replicated with the Tome of Wisdom. Okay? And Kabu says...
Al-Lagna is the will of the world.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Have they already mentioned that, or did I just miss it? Has it been mentioned yet?
Mentioned it like offhand.
Okay.
Yeah, they definitely never had like a deep conversation about it.
Okay. Moving on, let me see. Okay. So, Alex Heimer says, while both Echidna and Regulus have the authority of greed, their powers are completely different because of their own interpretations of their sin, which is an interesting topic we will have to talk about. In terms of there seems to be where, depending, like, Echidna is actually greedy, and her depravity and her delusion is a source of her own power, in contrast to all the different. But we'll have that conversation soon enough. Ken Kaneki says, I have enough grounds to believe that person was always meant to be Subaru, and Echidna was just unable to convey that to Beatrice. Maybe that was a hole in her ability to read the Tome of Wisdom. It's possible. Moving on, I gotta skip a little bit because people are talking to each other, which is fair. Let me see. Ken Kaneki says again, Roswaal is compelling because he lashed his entire existence onto the Tome because he really wants to meet Echidna again and had to break away from that to at least partially start thinking for himself. It's good. Roswaal, I intend to do character video essays for everybody, and so I think there's definitely a lot to discuss in reference to Roswaal. Punet Sharma says, I think Ram was never in the picture. Roswaal just needed guidance/dependency. That's, you know what, let me stop there for a second because I think this is actually good to think about. And let me pose the question to, I kind of want Kyo to talk more. So let me see. Ram's relationship with Roswaal. So Punet Sharma just says, I think Ram was never in the picture. Roswaal just needed guidance and dependency. In other words, he needed somebody to guide and also somebody who depended on him. What do you think about the character dynamic between Roswaal and Ram? And do you believe that maybe Roswaal picked Ram just because he wanted to have someone to sire, like Echidna was the master to him, he's the master to Ram, and Ram depends on him? Do you think there's anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Roswaal, I think has like some deep down connection with Ram, but I think originally she was just being used as a tool, and over time, he grew a little attached to her, whereas Ram actually like grew attached to Roswaal in contrast. But like, yeah, I think it's an okay relationship. I don't think it should go much further though.
Okay.
I ship them.
Yeah, sure. Let me see. Briar, do you have anything to say on that? And then Dio?
I think Roswaal has a genuine affection for Ram. I think the only reason that he took her in is probably because his gospel told him to. Like, for some reason, he had to attack their village. Not sure why. I hope we get an explanation for that.
Okay. And then Dio?
Ship them. I think that through love, maybe Roswaal will actually change. Maybe through Ram, he'll be able to get over his feelings of Echidna and realize that she's awful for him, and realize that she's just using him, and they'll live happily forever after.
Okay.
But it's 3-0, so that's not going to happen.
Okay. I was thinking of going through, like, it's going to be a lot, like, there are a lot of, like, chat stuff. I don't think I'm going to, it's going to work against us if I say I'm going to go through all of these. I do apologize. I will come back and, pick select stuff. But I know for other channels, it's like, oh, the super chats are guaranteed to be read. I'm not going to, like, force you guys to do anything like that. But I'll definitely pop back in to get some different pointers as we continue the overall conversation. So I want to then pose this new question. It's still about the Tome of Wisdom, though. And this is going to be hard. I don't know if this is going to be difficult for you guys. If it's spoiler territory and it's already been explained, then you can just let me know. We can just drop it. If not, I would like to know what you believe the answers to this question will be. And the question, I'll start from Briar, and then to Dia, and then to Kyo. the original term of wisdom, like, and the original tome of wisdom, what do you think about the origin of it? Because unless I'm tripping, we already said that Echidna didn't write it, Echidna can read it. And so where do you think the origin in itself comes from? Theories.
I don't even have any theories. I have no idea.
Do you let me change the question this way. Do you believe that it comes from even a superior being who writes it, or is it sort of a materialization of, the universe into a book? It happens in animes all the time where this is the physical representation of something. Or do you think someone sat down to write it? What do you think?
I'm not entirely convinced that Echidna did not write the original Tome of Wisdom, like the physical book.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure how you would describe how she got the information. You know what I mean?
Right. She would have had to get it from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Kia, what do you think? Do you have any theories on the original Tome of Wisdom's origin?
Yeah, I thought it came from like her authority and like her instinctual like greed. Well, that's that. Greed for knowledge. Right? That it's just. I thought it was made from her authority, but I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong.
There is a screenshot where when she's handing the book to Roswaal, she says it is incomplete, but this is a replica of the Tome of Wisdom, the authority granted to me. But that would mean that the Tome of Wisdom with the Lunica, or whatever you guys said, like that means that sorry, not Ram. That means that Echidna knows everything. That can't be true, though, right? I mean, really?
Maybe all a part of her plan. Maybe she planned for all of this to happen to make Subaru think that he won. That's a wild thing.
Because, I mean, like, I don't know if you guys are, like, would agree with my train of thought. For Echidna to have access to knowledge that knows the true past, the true present, and the true future is, like, this is, like, last boss level knowledge. To me, I don't even know if it's a good narrative decision to even do that. Because it basically means she knows everything right now.
It's possible that there's so much information that she herself hasn't taken it all in yet. Like, she's focused on things that she wanted to focus on, things she was curious about, but since it tells the future, like possibly the never-ending future across time, she probably hasn't even taken in all the information.
Okay, Keo, were you, or was it Dio who was talking? I didn't realize.
Keo was talking.
Yeah, Keo, did you have something to add?
Oh wait, no, sorry, no, I butted in a little bit and said something.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I believe my theory is that it was created by Adlagna, the will of the world, because I think that some kind of supreme being had to create. I think that it was granted to Echidna by the supreme being, whether it be Adlagna or something we don't know yet. And I think that her authority just allows her to somewhat interpret what it says, unlike everyone else who would just go insane. And I think it's not possible for her to know everything because there might be an infinite amount of possibilities. So she may have just read over the most important or most likely one.
Okay.
Like, you know how, like, that would be spoilers for Bleach. But I'm kind of relating her and her future knowledge to kind of like, I don't know how to say his name, but the guy.
Yuha?
Yeah, Yuha.
Okay. I mean, I know Yuha's ability. How do they connect? You don't have to worry about spoilers. I think everybody, if you're here, you probably know Bleach to the fullest. So you can go ahead and do the connection you want.
Well, just how, like, he can see all the possibilities, I think that it's too much for Echidna to actually be able to understand and memorize every possibility.
Okay, fair enough. Because, so there are infinite possibilities, and even she would have a limit on how much she can understand if it's, like, infinite possibilities. Although, I don't know how true that would be if the book tells the true future. Because if the book tells the true future, the assumption is that it's one specific future. In that case, it's not really infinite, it's just one, if you understand my perspective.
Yeah.
So
I think that the book tells the true future, but no one knows what the true future is, because if you read the book, it'll tell you every single possibility,
Got
and
you.
only the book knows which one is the true future.
Got you. Does anyone have anything to add to that? No, that's also fine.
Not really.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, I gotta say, like, the Tome of Wisdom is it's quite a compelling subplot in the show, and especially now with when you guys keep referencing Odlagna, the soul of the world, which, you know, again, I'm not gonna ask you to go too much into it to save, you know, to prevent spoiler stuff. But to me, I'm more like the soul of the world is you're talking about an individual, a being, or just like an idea or like a intangible concept. I'm not really sure, but Pulkit.
It is.
Huh? Is it
I
spoilery?
was gonna explain. Is it spoilery? Maybe.
Then I would let's play it safe. And let's play it
Yeah.
safe. So Pulkit says that we don't know how the Tome of Wisdom works exactly. It must have some drawback which we are not aware about. It's possible. And the tome didn't tell Roswaal to attack Ram's village. It was mistranslated. Basically, what Roswaal meant was that he knew the witch cult is going to attack Ram's village due to his tome, but he chose not to interfere and let the attack happen. Okay, so Pulkit said here this is there was a mistranslation, a translation error. The tome didn't tell Roswaal to attack Ram to have the witch cult attack Ram's village, but rather he knew that the attack was going to happen and didn't do anything to stop it. Okay, that slightly changes the role Roswaal played in Ram losing her horn and things like that. So, okay, very interesting. So let me go back to the chat, and I just want to be able to pick anything out of here, just so. Okay, so. It's Odd Laguna. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I don't know Japanese very well, I guess. All right, so the Sage candidate drop content is from the anime. Okay, no, that's nothing. Didn't Echidna say it's a copy of her authority? Nobody wrote the Tome of Wisdom. Okay, so people in the comments section, some of them think that nobody wrote it. So Ken kind of Kaneki believes that the book came into existence from her authority, which also allowed her to make copies of it. All right. Echidna put a contract of... Okay, so, that's interesting. Didn't Echidna detested using authority because it removed a need to research? Okay, okay, so everyone in the chat, I apologize if I don't get to all of your comments, but thank you for making your thoughts known. I truly, truly appreciate it. Let me see. So, let's talk about the gospel specifically. So, have we seen what's his name, Regulus's gospel? I don't think we have. Have we? Okay, so we
have not ever seen it.
Okay, and okay, cool. You know what? I think that I don't know, unless you guys have anything extra you want to add as far as the Tome of Wisdom is concerned. I feel like we've run down the Tome of Wisdom narrative, and I kind of want to go 30 more minutes before I bring this to an end. So I'm, either, unless you guys have anything extra to add, I'm going to put a little tangent to talk about another topic. Any objections, or is everyone cool with that?
I'm cool
No
with that.
objection.
Okay. I'm going to ask you guys a question, and I would like to know what your answer to that is. The question is basically this. What do you think if someone were to watch ReZero and come to the conclusion that Nagatsuki's writing of male characters makes them very simpy, and not in a good way? Not that there's any good version of simpy, I don't know. But when you talk about like Subaru says some really, really, I don't want to call it shady, but some questionable stuff. No matter what happened, I mean, this is not me quoting exactly, but it's all within the same vein. No matter what happens, I'll always believe you, I'll always trust you, I will die for you. To Ram, to Beatrice, to Emilia, and then you have Roswaal, who has a 400-year-old crush he can't get over, and the moment that, falls to the wayside, he doesn't know what to do. So, like, even the male characters who are thought to be strong-willed inevitably all fall back on this narrative where they're just hung up on some girl. If someone were to say that ReZero is lacking because of that, what would you guys say to that? Let me start from, okay, Keo, let me get you back in here. Let me get you back in here. So, Briar, what do you think? about this.
When you say that, I can't help but. I mean, I can see how someone can make that interpretation because now that I think about it, literally every male character that comes to mind does have a woman that he's kind of simping for, kind of, sort of. Like, at the very least, she is like his inspiration to keep fighting, it seems.
Right.
I think it's a very strong. I completely disagree. I think that it is true that they always fall back on a woman, but I think it is a strong plot point about love. And also, the female characters also fall back onto male characters that they like.
That's a good point. That's a
It's not
fair
just that
point.
the male characters are doing that. The female characters are also doing that. We have to look at both sides.
That's a
It's
fair
not
point.
fair to only say that. Well, Subaru did say that if he was a dog, he'd like to. Like he literally said that he's okay with being a dog if he's Amelia's dog.
Bruh, come on. What the heck?
That is a quote.
That is
literally a quote. And
like-
Wilhelm even said, "I'm so sad that you would say that."
Yeah, Nagatsuki, Nagatsuki, I don't know about that, bro. That's kind of weird.
It's a little strange. There's a little.
You know, and even with the whole thing, I think someone told me in the comment section of one of the videos that Subaru was asleep and Rem was doing something with saliva or some. You know, I don't know what. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
No,
she was.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, it was a very unhealthy relationship between him and Rem, because she was like borderline stalkerish. Like she would watch him sleep, and like do things.
Okay, what was the saliva one?
That one, I don't know which specific one that was, but makes
Okay.
perfect sense. That she wanted to be
Someone-
on that saliva.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure someone in the comment section told me that I think he was sleeping and he was drooling and she must have taken the drooling from that and sucked on it or some weird. I was like, bro, what the heck? This is not the Rem I know. This is not cool. But yeah, when Subaru was sleeping, this is Poke by the way. When Subaru was sleeping, she once put her fingers in Subaru's mouth and he got turned. Okay, wow. Okay, 2 steps back. But yeah, you see this thing, like there's a lot of questionable love perspectives in ReZero. Like, what do you think about these things?
Say that she was fanatical like a demon.
Good point. Wait, let me see what Polk is saying. Oh, okay, she was the one who got turned on, not him. Okay, cool. So yeah, it's like I think we can all agree that's kind of sus, and I can understand why the anime didn't want to add that because it's kind of weird even for anime standards, oddly enough. But there seems to be like, and I'd like to think that Nagatsuki is trying to make he's trying to make social commentary on a bunch of things. Like in the case of Roswaal, he may have genuine love for Echidna, but this is an example of maybe an actual authentic love leading someone down the wrong path, in contrast to Subaru, who also has genuine love for Emilia, but uses that to see the good in people and do the right thing most of the time. So I sometimes I'd like to say that the fact that it exists in the story doesn't automatically mean that Nagatsuki is trying to make a commentary that this is how love should be. He's just exploring different versions of love and different versions of intersexual dynamics. So let me pose this question to Dio. The relationship between Rem and Subaru. I know you're an Emilia diehard, and I won't let this conversation descend into the Emilia versus Rem thing, because like it's gonna get I don't know what's gonna happen. It's probably gonna explode because I'm not going to back down. I'm gonna stand by my point. But what do you think about the relationship between Rem and Subaru?
Between Rem and Subaru or Ram and Subaru?
Rem.
I'm sorry, I couldn't tell which one, A or E.
The blue haired, my waifu,
Okay.
you know the one.
Yeah, okay, you're right, forgot. So what do I think of her and Subaru's relationship?
Yes, and why is it the
Well,
best?
from what I know about their Ifrit, the sloth Ifrit from
Wait, I haven't read that. You can't go into that because I don't know it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I assumed. Yeah,
Thank
I
you,
assumed
Kier.
that.
Oh,
Sorry,
that was
sorry.
dangerous. So just between basically season 1, because she's not in season 2, which By the way, I'm just telling you guys ahead of time so no one gets mad. When I'm reviewing the entirety of season 2, I am going to give it a little bit of downvote because Rem is not in it. You can bite me, I don't care. The fact is, Rem was not in this entire season. That you can't do that. How can you do that? Does she at least come back in the next arc?
Do you want the
Are you
answer?
asking me that?
Well, I mean, she has to come back eventually. Like, how long am I gonna have to go without her?
So do you
I
want
don't
wait a
think
long
that?
time.
Do you
I don't
want
think you
an
should
actual
answer that.
answer for that? Do you want the
Don't
answer?
answer.
Oh my god, Nagatsuki, you can't be serious, bro.
That would be a spoiler.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, I'm sorry, Dio, go ahead. I interrupted.
It's fine. Okay. Well, good job interrupting me because I could have spoiled something.
You sure? It's cool.
Okay, so I think it is a very, very bad relationship from what we saw in the anime. I think she's just too obsessive.
Come on, what? Nah. Go ahead. I'll let you make your argument.
But a part of me also kind of ships them.
Okay.
But for reasons I can't say because of spoilers.
Okay.
But I do think that it would have been a bad relationship for both Subaru and Rem.
Okay.
I just think, well, I think it like if he had, well, no, I can't even. No, you should move on.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay, Kyo, yeah, go ahead, man.
And moving on. All right. I don't. I mean, I don't. It's okay.
Is
Like,
okay.
I don't really ship them that much.
What
Actually,
dynamic
it's-
is not
it's
okay for you?
Nice. Like, I don't know. It just feels kind of. It happened too fast, but that could be said both ways. That the obsession happened like really quickly, and like I watched this video how people like the dynamic more because it was like an earned dynamic,
Right, which
or
is
like she
mhm.
started off very cold and grew to like him very quickly, but
Mhm.
I don't really like that.
What's like? I'd like to know. I mean, this is not a dig on you or anything. I'm having a hard time recognizing which aspect of the story you're actually excited about versus not excited about. So, if you can just name drop what you considered not okay for, like, in the entirety of ReZero, dynamic wise, who would you talk about?
Appreciate the dynamic of how it's basically just like a love story with all the struggles that he has to go through
Okay.
in between.
Okay.
And like, obviously, the main focus is on the main heroine. So the side, so Rem, I don't like her. She's like insane.
I need a new
She's
panel.
insufferable,
I need a new
man.
panel. These guys do not stand Rem. I need a new panel. Briar, what do you think? But look, fair enough. I understand. Fair enough.
I don't want to disappoint you. I love Rem, I really do. I especially loved her in season 1. Season 2 brought Amelia up for me, so I kind of love them equally. But I do kind of think that Rem and Subaru, as they are now, would be actually really toxic for each other. Like, they're both just so willing to throw themselves in front of danger without a second thought. Like, Rem even said that Subaru is now her reason to die. It's just, I don't think it's a very good dynamic right now.
Wow. It's rough in here, chat. It's rough in here. I'm basically on my own. I'm basically on my own. Okay, that's fair. I disagree. Kyo spoke about this, and he made a very good point about the aspect of it being earned. When I watched season 1, the fact of the matter is, in season 1, Subaru sees Emilia, and right then and there, this man is head over heels for Emilia. I'm like, bro, what the heck? You just met... I mean, sure, she saved him from the bandits or whatever, but like, it was completely out of nowhere, in my opinion, completely unearned, and all of a sudden he's willing to die 1,000 times. I'm like, bro, that's... I don't know, that's kind of weird and whatnot. In contrast, I'm also of the opinion that Rem's character arc, especially when it came to the redemption character arc of Rem with her relationship with Ram, feeling on, like, you know, because Ram was always the one who was more favored in the village, and then there was a certain inkling of jealousy, but then Rem was always nice to Rem. Inevitably, the positions switch, and you can see that Rem kind of feels bad for it, and I like the fact that there's a redemption arc that Subaru's role in her life allows her to see the light, and in exchange for that, she's willing to do what she can to ensure his survival. I just kind of get with that, and I personally don't get that vibe when it's Emilia's scenes, because we will have a separate conversation about Emilia, because I have a feeling people are not going to like what I have to say about Emilia, and it breaks my heart because I hate to be at odds with everyone. I just don't, I don't vibe with Emilia, and it's very strange. I'm in the process of understanding what it is that I'm lacking, but I'm not even to the point where I finished season 2, and still I haven't bought into Emilia. Hopefully nobody hates me for that. It's just the truth.
Can I say something?
Sure, go ahead.
I understand not liking Emilia. I honestly thought she was pretty annoying, even up until kind of the end of this arc that we're on. But I'm just worried that when it comes to Rem, I'm worried that she hasn't really moved past what she was dealing with, and instead just switched her obsession from Rom over onto Subaru, like as like a patchwork temporary fix.
Right. You know, that's actually a good point. In many ways, it would have been fitting if Rem was able to take the trial, because she has some past that she needs to get over as well, just like Emilia. It would have been fitting. Like, Rem wouldn't be eligible, would she? She's not
no,
half-blood.
Yeah, she's not half-blood.
Even though she is a demon. Well, okay, I guess she's a full demon, so it's different. Okay, interesting. Yeah. Kyo.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, that reminded me. Yeah, is that basically her character arc is basically already like completed at the end of episode 18. It is basically like resolved a big portion of her story. So I guess that's kind of why Teppei threw her aside at the time.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's because she's already like gone over her past regrets, and then it was time for her to step out of the spotlight for a good while.
Well, that's fair. I think that's fair. I think she has a little bit more. I think at the very least she has one more season worth of character development to actually finish, because Briar made a very good point where it just looked like she switched one obsession for another. Ram for Subaru, and so there's probably some character development that could be done there. But I won't refute that. Most of her character development did happen in season 1, and she, and I still say to this day the most important episode in ReZero is episode 18, and Rem is at the center of that. Without her, everything crumbles, and so I can definitely understand that perspective. Let me pose this question to you. What is in your opinion, because I just said what I consider to be the most pivotal moment in the series, episode 18. What do you guys think is the most pivotal moment in the series? Let me start from Dio, and then I'll go to Briar, Kyo, and Polkit. Do you want to talk? If you want to talk, just you can unmute and answer as well. But Dio, you first. The most pivotal moment in ReZero so far.
That's a really tough one. The most pivotal moment.
In the anime.
In the anime, sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I was only thinking about the anime. I'm not. Trust me, I'm really trying not to think about the life.
Okay.
Ooh, okay. I think I have it.
Okay.
The moment when, either the moment that Subaru met Ekidona, or the moment that Subaru realized that Ekidona had been using it. Over episode 18. Like, I put that over episode 18.
Okay. Why do you say that?
Because, like, in that moment, he realizes that the only person that he could even talk to about Return by Death, like, the only person that, like, he could, like, trust with that, like, the person that's been helping him this entire time has really just been using him this entire time, and it's caused him, like, with Ren, he was just able to rely on Ren, but this pushed him to not be able to rely on anyone, and then Satella came and made him like oh, you can rely on other people, and then Otto, but that's why Otto's best boy.
Okay. I can see why that would be important. Like, again, I already explained why it wouldn't be my most important, but my major issue, if I had any, with that moment being the catalyst is because, as you said, if if the moment where he recognizes that Echidna is only using him is the most pivotal moment, that interaction made Subaru not want to rely on people. So then the actual pivotal moment would be Satala getting through to Subaru then. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a fair shot. I think that's a fair shot. Briar, what do you have as your most pivotal moment in the ReZero anime?
What you just said actually was going to be the tea party with all the witches, where he had the conversation with Statella. I thought was the most pivotal moment.
Okay.
And that going forward, he's probably going to rely a lot more on his friends, and we'll be able to see a lot of teamwork in this show.
Okay. Interesting. Kyo, do you have a shout, or do you think it's all okay?
That have been stated already. There is the start of season 2, where of course there's that moment where he realizes he can't just use return red death every time to get out of every situation, and that's where he loses a good part of him at the start of season 2.
Interesting.
That's one of my favorite moments.
Interesting. Can you tell us more about that?
That's it's the undo button. Basically, I get to undo this, but you cannot use your undo button past a certain point.
Right.
He's just getting giga fucked by that.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I should keep it POS, not say that. I don't know. Monetization.
Yeah, you're cool. Okay.
But, yeah, when he realizes that he can't use it, his authority, he's just the moment when it hits him, it's pretty. I like that. Seeing the true despair.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, so to slightly alter the perspective and the lens we're looking through, for me, whenever I'm watching series, specifically top-heavy shows like ReZero, my master writers always have a certain message conveyed within the story, where based on in general sense, I look at it somewhat of an equation, where he presents an actual problem within the story itself that the characters have to tackle, and the character's answer to that question is his answer to us in the real world. And there are many examples of that. And so I want to go through, for example, I'll start from Briar. You believed that the moments where Subaru is able to talk with Satala and believe that he can rely on people, what do you think is the fundamental message that Nagatsuki is trying to convey through that scene the scene between Satala and Subaru?
Learn to cherish yourself, I think.
Okay. Can I get more, please?
I got a different one from that.
Okay, we'll come to you in a second. I want more from Briar if I can get any more.
I'm just not sure how to expand on it. Learn to cherish yourself, love yourself, be the best you that you can possibly be, and don't take on everybody's burdens without thinking of yourself. It's good to be helpful, but don't forget yourself in the process.
Right. Okay. That's actually a good point. In that when Satala actually says it's okay that you want to be saved, or actually that's not what she said. She says, "Why do you think that everyone else has to be saved except you?" Something to that degree, where you're just forgetting everyone else in an act of selflessness, but you're actually still being selfish to everyone else but you. And so learning to love yourself. That's actually a very good point. So Dio, you said you have a completely different perspective. What is it?
Yeah. Well, unless I'm stupid, it is completely different.
Okay, let's hear it.
But I could be dumb. Okay, so what I got from it was to allow the people that I love to suffer with.
Yeah, isn't that what you said?
Well, yeah, it's. I think it's coming at it from the opposite end, where from Briar's perspective, learning to love yourself and relying on others will let them suffer with you. So it's basically from different perspectives. But please elaborate on your point.
Okay. So, for example, I used to, just put all of my problems on myself and not let anyone help me with it because I didn't want to be a burden to anyone. But it was too much for me, and it broke me, and I had to end up relying on my friends for help anyways, for the needed support. And so ReZero helped me learn that lesson, that I need to let my friends help me, and I need to realize that I'm not a burden. So
Okay.
it taught me a life lesson.
Okay. For Kia, what did you think was the message conveyed to your pivotal moment?
Well, there's not really a message there, huh?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a little tough for that one.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, it's like it's
There's
still
no positive message there.
I guess just recognizing that you can't just spam return by death to fix. I guess you can't just rely on things just to fix your problems. Like it's not that simple to try to do these things. So I think that's actually a fair shout. That's a fair shout. Okay. I think we have 7 minutes and then we're gonna be out of here. Let me go into the comment section to see if there are any questions that I can pose to you guys. And you know what? If Polkit has gotten he's gotten me a bunch of things that Rem did that were sus. If you guys don't mind hearing about it, I don't mind telling you. So you know what? Get ready. We're about to break Rem down to all the weird stuff that Rem does. Okay, so here, number one. Oh wow. Wow, I don't even know how I should say this. She sniffs Subaru's underwear. She says so in the battle against the white whale. Okay, Rem. Like you were literally breaking down the. It's cool. Number two, she tries to drug Subaru so she can take advantage of him, but her plan fails, and Emilia ends up drinking the drugged drink and wants head pats. That's a side story thing. Okay, Rem, questionable. Please stop. Number three, she puts her finger in Subaru's mouth while he sleeps. Number four, she watches him sleep every night. She says so in Memory Snow. Number five, I think. There is one more moment which I won't be mentioning since I have to explain another cut contents. So those are the ones I can do. Okay, so those are the main ones. Sniffing Subaru's underwear, trying to drug him, putting her finger in his mouth, and watching him sleep every night. That is... No, that is... I refuse to believe that. That's not canon. Yeah, that's not true.
It's canon.
That ain't canon. There's no way.
Yeah,
You're in denial, Rieger. You're in denial.
That is terrible. Oh, God. Wow. Okay, let me look in the conversation and see if there's anything we can... Because we're out in 5 minutes. Sorry, do you have anything?
So I see this question about evolution, in the chats about the thoughts on Roswaal. Yeah, we already talked about him, but I think that he's just like the perfect foil to Subaru. The fact that, yeah, he's obviously simping for a white-haired witch in a very similar manner.
Right.
For Subaru, so it's a very obvious foil. The story even talks about it, but I like him as a good foil character, and yeah.
Okay, interesting.
I guess he's also kind of like a father figure in a very distorted sense.
Right, definitely. Actually, before I start going through some of the things that the comment section is saying, I want to give this opportunity to you guys. For the next installment of the conversation that we'll have, is there any particular concepts you would prefer to be tackled? I just want to make sure. Do you guys have anything you would like to tackle next time?
For the next round table?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Let's. What do you have in mind?
I can't remember, but I came up with it in the middle and I didn't want to interrupt.
Can you remember it now, or?
I will DM you about it.
Okay, cool. Briar, do you have any particular aspect that you would definitely like to tackle in next time?
Nothing concrete, but I think I'd like to discuss Reinhard just as a character.
That's true. We haven't gotten a lot about him, but the dude, like, in a word, man's just badass. All right, like, was there a moment where Garfield says an idiom, like he's alive and he already has idioms about him, which is like the biggest flex I can think in the story so far.
Yeah.
No one can run from Reinhardt.
Right, and
But Elsa is literally someone that ran from Reinhardt.
yeah, I think actually, that's a good point. I don't know if he might have just I guess he had other things to attend to, so it's whatever. But there was a very clear difference in power. It was very clear. And actually, that moment where he faced up against Puck, which you know what, I don't want to take it away from Briar. We'll definitely talk about that next time. I'm writing these down, so Reinhardt definitely want to talk about it. Kyo, do you have anything you want to talk about specifically?
I just wanted to I want to see what your predictions on what season 3 will be about. I don't know, but that's not something we could talk about, huh?
Okay.
Your theories you have.
Okay. Yeah. Unlike season 1, how did season 1 end? I feel like the season 1 end on a cliffhanger. It didn't. The first episode of season 2 is what brought which was apparently supposed to be the actual end of season 1 or something. Yeah, because this one ended on such a I don't know, happy note. Like when I was watching the final episode, I was so sure. I was like, this is Nagatsuki. Like, what's gonna happen? Like, I bet the place is gonna explode and all of a sudden everyone dies and he restarts or something. But then, and they were dancing. I was like, is it over? And then it was actually over. I was like, huh, it's actually over. Okay, a happy ending to a season. That's something. I think that
Actually,
yeah.
can I say? Actually, this isn't the true ending to season 2. There is bit of cut content that anime didn't adapt.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess
Very
when they
important stuff. Like,
okay.
Look at it as telling the truth.
Okay, so I'm assuming maybe when in the first episode of season 3, just like they did in season 1, they'll do the same thing.
Yeah. Also, if there's a season 2 director cut, I think it'll likely be added to the end because that's what they did for season 1. Where the director cut added the start of season 2.
Okay.
To the end of the director cut.
Okay, got you. Yeah. For me, I think, in my personal opinion, priority should be finding a way to get Rem out. Like, to resurrect Rem. Alright, that's the one missing piece to making this squad unbeatable. Yeah, I said it. We need to get Rem up. She's been gone for too long. And I think that would lead us to going after Gluttony. To which that guy showed up at the start of, and then he's gone. He never showed up again, which is crazy. He looks like that character from Full Metal Alchemist. I've forgotten the name. Like Lust or something? No, not Lust. I guess the
Envy?
Gluttony. He looks like some Full Metal Alchemist character. I don't remember who, but the guy who was with Regulus who attacked Rem. He looks like some guy from. Anyway, you know what? It's not important. But I think that the focus of the next season should be we need to try and get and recover Rem, which would take us to go after the Archbishop of Gluttony, and probably we'll run into Regulus as well, hopefully, because I don't think. I'm sorry. Here's a question: what happens to the royal selection as of now? What's the current state of that?
It's still going.
It's still okay. So it's like we've just been absent, and everything else was just going on normally. Okay.
Keep in mind, all this takes place in 1 week.
Okay.
That incident.
Okay. Sometimes you forget because Subaru starts over and over so often. Okay, that's a good point. So let me see. I'm gonna read the chat, and then I am going to get us out of here. I feel like that's spoilery, so I'm gonna skip that. Watch nearly no. Ram has the same unhealthy obsession with Roswaal, the same that what Ram has with Subaru. Okay, I mean I don't know what Ram is doing, but cool. Julius, Ricardo, Otto, Reinhard. Okay, Rem creepily watches Subaru sleep. It's cut content of Rem being stalkery. Okay, I'm gonna skip ahead to. Rem is a sweet girl, but clearly needs help, and her sister Ram is no better with Roswaal. You know what? That actually reminds me of a point that I wanted to make in reference to the Tome of Wisdom's impact, and we'll probably just end with this. Thank you guys for commenting, by the way. Thank you very much. I think the one essence, as in the Tome of Wisdom's input within the story of ReZero, I think the biggest thing that it does, it showcases how some of the most brilliant minds and some of the most powerful mages in the world somehow can't seem to think for themselves, and it's actually indicative of an emotional flaw. Puck told Roswaal that I don't think there is a stronger mage on this planet. Well, not a planet. No one else is stronger than you when it comes to magic. Which is, as far as if Puck says that, I like to think Puck knows what he's talking about. And as strong and as wise, because he was reading all the stuff that was in the Forbidden Library. He's a smart, strong, powerful individual, and yet the Tome of Wisdom is this aspect of his character where even as powerful as he is and as smart as he is, he still isn't able to think for himself. It's a really big flaw, and the same thing applies to all these people who overly rely on this external factor to tell them what to do, even though they have the capacity to think for themselves. And I think Nagatsuki was exploring some very, very heavy, deep concept with that. And so I'm just going to go around final statements for everyone, starting from Dio, and final statements to the chat to ReZero before we go off the air.
Okay. So I get to say my last words?
Yep, anything you want to say, as long as it's not spoilery.
Nope, there's only one thing I want to say, and it is goodbye, all you filthy meat creatures.
Okay. Okay. Briar, what about you? Any last words?
Thank you for having me, and I'm really looking forward to the next arc of the story.
Yes, I will be reading. I think I'm gonna start reading it maybe this week. And actually, no, I'm wondering if I should. I think what I have to do is I have to catch up on the reviews. There's so many reviews I have to do. I got to do that, and then after that, I'll start reading so we can see what happens. Does it get better? Let me put it this way: does it get better? Is the best yet to come for ReZero?
100%.
I would say yes.
Yes. Yes.
No. Okay. Okay. Is it like? Would you guys put your foot down to say like XX astronomically better? Like it's about to go down. Would you say that?
Yeah.
I think this current season is as good as Arc 6.
Okay.
Arc 6 is the best one so far. Peak, we can say.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting.
I think it's about the same as Arc 4.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. You guys must have liked. I mean, people. I'm gonna drop the bombshell here, and then everyone is. I guess you're gonna have to wait for me to make the review. I prefer season 1 of ReZero to season 2 of ReZero. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I prefer season 1 to season 2.
So much.
Like people are gonna come at me. I will give you my reasons in the official video. I will break it down why I say this. It doesn't mean it's bad, but I really resonated with season 1 in ways where season 2 I felt was lacking. But I'll save that. I'll give you my entire argument. Then I just wanted to put it out there. I personally felt season 1 was better. I thought the climax was better. The battle with the white whale was better than the battle with the great rabbit, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I felt that the supporting character, especially with Wilhelm and the Wilhelm to Krush, all the sad characters, I resonated with them more so than some of the ones here. I thought that ReZero seemed to go in a certain cycle where Subaru starts off at a certain level. Nagatsuki will break him down, deconstruct him to the very end, break him down to the very little, and then bring him back up to a peak, and then there's a resolution. I personally preferred the descent that he had to deal with when it came to trying to save Emilia in the mansion. I preferred that to what we got in season 2 personally. I think it was a much more, I don't think it was worse, but I preferred the way in which he depicted the descent and then the ascension with Rem in episode 18 to this one with the Satella ascent in episode, I don't know what episode that was, but anyway, I'll let you guys know. But I'm not being a hater just because Rem was the center focus in season 1. I promise you it's not that, but I'll let you guys know why. Kyo, do you have any final words before we get out of here?
Yeah, thanks for having us. I'm a little awkward. Sorry about that, but I gotta not wake people up at my house.
Okay. Completely understood, bro. Okay, so to all the people in the chat, to all the people, oh wow, I'm getting destroyed in the chat. Sacrilege, heresy. Oh dang. Oh, I guess it's not a popular opinion. I promise you I have good reasons, guys. I promise you there's a reason for it. There really is. All of a sudden I want to talk about Emilia, but I'll save that for a video, I think.
I mean, there's definitely some problems with the adaptation. I think that might contribute to it. There's a lot of mistranslations.
And the pacing is so much faster.
Mm-hmm. There's some cut content. But that's because they were trying to adapt so much material.
Right.
I don't think it'll be like that for the future seasons.
I think R4 is larger than Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Okay, yeah, I think you mentioned that just arc. Well, this is arc 3, right, or 4?
It's
4. This is arc 4.
Arc 4 is bigger in content than the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy, and we compressed that into 25 episodes. So that was a humongous undertaking right there. Is it just me, or did it need? For those who were reading it, after watching it from start to finish, did it need that much content? Again, I feel like in the case of the anime, they missed a few things, but for it to warrant that much writing, like the entirety of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. That's a lot of writing for one arc. I personally don't think it was necessary. What do you think? That's a lot of writing.
You have to read it to know.
Yeah, you have to read it.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm like, bro, how I don't know how much you could talk about Nagatsuki. That's crazy. This
We
man
can
just
say
loves
that,
to write.
Novel is, yeah, we can say that novel is better than the anime.
Hmm. Yeah, okay. I people say that. I mean, I'm about to find out because I'm about to start reading, so I'm about to definitely find out. All right, then. So, people in the chat, I hope you'll stick around to hear what I have to say about the review and the entire thing. So, thank you all for coming. I think this has been a very successful first installment of the round table. And hopefully you guys will be able to come back again, because I'd like to establish a regular so we can get more comfortable talking with each other and things like that. So with that, it's your boy Rebirth signing off until the next Rebirth video. Peace out. All right. Okay.